I gazed into the visions of the night, and I saw, coming on the clouds of heaven, one like a son of man. I only hear a short time. No one can escape this encounter. The child comes into a new experience and opens his eyes to the surprise of the gift of life. He has to receive everything. But bit by bit, the human being grows into a mode of apparent rights, and indeed of superiority. But all has been received, and one day we must all answer for the use that we have made of it. Right now, in this night of Christ the King, someone somewhere is passing on to that encounter. The intersection between time and eternity, the moment of death, hits each one in a different mode. There is war here and there on this planet, and many go violently and in great pain and shock to an unprepared death. Others in the nursing homes and hospitals of this world die more calmly, surrounded by friends and prayer. Yet others, in a moment of weakness and depression and despair, accelerate the process. But all land on the other side in that common experience of departure from the body. None then can stop the ongoing process of being somewhere, somehow. We all on this planet have the same humanity, and that moment will hit us all in our day. I was moved when I picked up the Purgatory manuscript years ago in France and thought I had to translate that and try to get it known. But there was so much information about the other side in it. The nun asks questions to the other nun in Purgatory, and puzzling answers come back. Just a little pulling apart the veil of the mystery of the beyond. How far is it from the world in which we live to Purgatory? Purgatory is in the center of the globe. Isn't the world itself a purgatory? Of those who live in it, some do it entirely while still there, through voluntary or accepted penance. These go after death immediately to heaven. Others begin it there, because the world is a veritable place of suffering. But these souls, lacking as they are the generosity which is needed, will have to finish off their earthly purgatory in the real one. Deaths that are sudden and unforeseen Are they acts of God's justice or of his mercy? Deaths of this sort are sometimes an act of justice and sometimes an act of mercy. When a soul is of a worrying nature, and God knows that it is prepared and ready to appear before him, in order to spare it the frights it might have at the final moment, he withdraws it from this world by a sudden death. And at other times, God takes souls away in his justice. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are utterly lost, but deprived as they are of the last sacraments, or having received them hastily, without having prepared themselves for the last crossing, their purgatory is considerably more painful and goes on for a longer time. Others, having reached the very limit with their crimes and remained deaf to every single God-given grace, are removed from the world. God takes them off, lest they excite his vengeance even further. The fire of purgatory. Is it a fire like the one we know on earth? Yes, only with the difference that the fire of purgatory is a purifier that has to do with the justice of God. And that of the earth, nice and gentle, compared with purgatories. It's but a shadow beside the great braziers of divine justice. We do well to pause before the last things on this last Sunday of the liturgical year. The Church has placed it now at this point in time, the culmination, as it were, of time anticipated, so that we can place ourselves in our correct context. We are creatures. We have received, and we must render an account. We cannot poke fun at what made us. If we do, we are only making trouble for ourselves. We cannot play a game with the one who made us out of nothing, to give us the maximum possible, but only if we accept and graciously collaborate. We cannot presume that we have rights over the one that made us, or influence the course of eternity, for we do not control what made us. He is the Alpha and the Omega, and we are what is not.